Hi, good morning. This is Mr. Rodriguez. Welcome to our last tutorial for the informative essay. We walked through the introduction. We talked about cited evidence and the analysis of that evidence, how it connects with the thesis statement and supports it. And we had a look at a counter argument. Again, looking at the transition words that show opposition or something that counters the thesis statement, like although. We highlighted our counter argument in green, and then we rebutted our counter argument in that purple. Now we're going to look at the conclusion. To close a conversation, which is all a conclusion is, you're just closing a conversation on paper. And we see this transition and closing statement, the phrase to conclude. The passages or speeches in Unit 3 whole class, the content given has had an effect in many ways. There were many different emotions, including some were hurtful and others hopeful. Although terrible tragedies have happened, we still honor and remember those who fought for the rights of people. They won't only be remembered in our minds, but in our hearts for standing up for the right thing, knowing the consequences they would face. Again, I'll tell you why this conclusion is pretty good. Like if we just kind of dismiss the grammar errors, we saw grammar errors, they're there. But the content is creatively closing the conversation. It does not restate the thesis statement because it doesn't need to, but it still addresses and relevantly closes the topic. It does not restate the supporting arguments. And I know traditionally some students have been taught to restate the thesis statement and the supporting arguments. I teach my kids, close your conversation, have a look forward or a reflection and have a final thought. This doesn't always include restating. At any rate, I see the transition word conclude right there. I'll tell my students, hey, highlight your closing transition word. And then I always remind my students, let's try to avoid restating because then that becomes formulaic writing. It won't get them into advanced, that blue tier. At any rate, I hope this was a very easy tutorial to understand. You can always review and rewind, rewatch. Have a wonderful writing session.